Joyous is a word that comes to mind when considering just how to introduce the jewelry artist, Felieke. To get an insight into the edge of humor and tenderness of her work, one needs only to look at the names of the solo exhibitions in which her work has been featured. It's a Beastly World, after all. Ostriches in Love. Animal Party. International Fair for Autonomous Design. A graduate of the Art Academy, Geviet Rietveld, Jewelry Department Amsterdam in the Netherlands, and also studied at the Technical School for Gold and Silversmithing, Schoonhoven, also in the Netherlands. Her prestigious career has been honored with prizes, exhibitions, collections, and grants. We are fortunate and blessed to have Felieke as one of our speakers. Please welcome Felieke.
I think a stopwatch, so I can see myself how far. Well, being the last, Well, I'm really happy being here. The first time I was here in Seattle was during the SNAC conference, which was my very first SNAC conference ever. And I enjoyed it so much. It was so wonderful being with hundreds and hundreds of colleagues together for 3 days and watching so many interesting lectures. So, well, very happy to be here again then. And I will start. Yes. Just with the beginning, I was always very busy doing handiwork with textiles. My mother taught me how to knit and to crochet and to use the sewing machine, and I always made gifts for my friends, and I was always doing something. So it's in a way a kind of addiction, I think. And I lived in a town in the north of the Netherlands, and my parents had a company, so we had a house with all concrete around the house, not really nice garden, and a big garage. And in the garage there were all these cranes and trucks for loading sand, so they were always driving around the house. So always big machinery. And in the town where I was born, in Emmen, we had a zoo, which was in that time one of the first zoos which thought about the well-being of the animals to let them live in an environment that was most suitable for them, which was in that time very modern. And I went many times to that zoo, of course, with my friends. And my parents, because we had these cranes, my father always was telling about the stories about lifting hippopotamus and giraffes out of the crates into the zoo. So it was quite normal to talk about African animals in this small town in the north of the Netherlands. My parents had this hobby that was sailing in the summer and weekends and all holidays, and I was one of those children that had to go with their parents to the boat. I don't know if there are more people sitting here who have that childhood, but I really hated it. Oh, it was horrible. It was so boring. I couldn't imagine why you would like to sit on a boat and the water was grey and the weather was grey and the boat was small and. Yeah, so I was always sitting or inside the ship, just fantasizing in my own fantasy land, and knitting and crocheting all kinds of things that I just thought of. So that was how I passed by. But then I turned 13, and that was one of the big miracles in my life. I got a pony. And later a horse. On the left side you see a horse, and I was completely into that horse world. I was this horse girl, which only could sing in a horse only about horses, and I knew for 1,000% sure my future would be with horses. I couldn't think about anything else. But then girls turn 17, and that's a crucial age for or you stop with the horses or you continue. And I stopped. I was not so interested anymore in the horses, but I liked the opposite sex more and partying, and so it was goodbye horse. Yeah. But I think now I don't know if you know now a little bit more what's going on in the horse world about with natural horsemanship and this horse language, Equus and Monty Roberts and Pat Pirelli. It's really interesting now what's going on with how to treat and how to work with horses. I think if this what I know now would be then, I would still be with the horses, but fortunately it was not like that. So it was my horse career, and then I didn't know what to do, and I talked to my biology teacher, and it was this punky. I had my hair in the air and strange things in my ear, and my biology teacher said, well, you can. I didn't want to go to university to learn in books. He said, well, there is this technical school, and for gold and silversmithing, maybe you like that because you're making jewelry. And I went to that school just to see, and I thought, well, yeah, I like it, and I just, I have to do something. So I went to this technical school in Schoonhoven. I did just what I had to do. Nothing more, nothing less. I was not this student that worked every night and weekends off for my own. I just did my work at school, and that was it. I was not very good. I was just middle, just average. I did first goldsmithing and then an extra year silversmithing, and then you have a year of trainee, being a trainee. And then I thought, well, metalsmithing is nice, but I'm just, I was 21. That, well, now starting to work, if I can go to an art academy, well, then I'd like to do that. So just continuing going to study. And I went to the Gerrit Rietveld Academy, and you have first a basic year in which you get all kinds of different disciplines. And I thought, jewelry is nice, but I want to do real art with the big A, so drawing and painting. And I did it for 3 months, and I got really depressed. I just did. This was another, but it was most of the time it was two-dimensional, and I just couldn't think two-dimensional, and I couldn't draw, and I just hated going to work, and I just thought, well, I quit. This is not my thing. I'm going to be a car repairman, woman, or I don't know, work with my hands. But fortunately, somebody told me, well, at the academy, just why don't you go to jewelry? And I said, well, okay, I give it a try. And then I just was, Ruud Peters was at that time the head of the department. And I started just playing with fringes, with textile, and just a little bit of crocheting with metal, very thin metal, copper threads. And I just found out, but this is nice. I like to work with my hands and with little things and just play with it. I stayed. And but then I don't know it I still was not very happy because we had these assignments and they were had this big theme, and it was for 3 months the same assignment and big theme, and you get all input from lectures and visits musea, and then you have to do something, but you must not think about the final product, but you have this road, the path to go, and you have to write, and you have to draw, and you have to make samples, and then you talk about it, and from then on you make different things, and you just you continue on, and finally you have something like, and it didn't work with me, and I just really tried, and I really tried for years and years, and then I was in the final year, even I did an extra year because I could graduate it. I just was so fed up, and I thought, well, I'm just going to make something because I want to do something, and I just start on working with needle and thread and some crocheting, And Ruud Peters, he said, well, I don't know what with you. I think you have it in it, but I don't see it. And then I thought, told him, well, come to my small apartment and just see my small environment, and maybe you understand me then a little bit better. And well, he came to my house, and I just had this laying on the table just randomly, just nothing very special. But he saw it and he said, well, but did you make it? I said, yeah, well, yeah. He said, well, but this is very special, I never saw it. I said, well, it's not that special, it's very easy. And I said, no, well, go on with this and don't think too much about big things, but just do it your way. And from that moment on, I just started working, and it's just continuously having new ideas. And at that time in the beginning, I just also made what I had in my head just immediately, so without thinking too much about it. And this is one of the works I graduated in 1996. It's the Sperm Heart. Yeah. And I think I've made now hundreds of them. I still produce them. And my former stagiaire is now also producing them, because I sometimes I'm a bit fed up. But, they're still going strong. Here you have the curator of Middlesbrough Institute of Modern Art at Downing Street. And some people marry and have it on their clothing, and in Japan it's so nice. Yeah, this is the little bird for the man with the grey suit. I think it's always so pity for men if they have to dress up. They just can't. They can choose this black, grey, and dark blue and suits. It's really women can wear everything they want. So I just made this for him. And for me, he's crying for attention, but other people think he's laughing. So it's what you see. And yeah, this is the piglet with the red boots. And I made it. I was inspired by this record cover, and that's it. But the funny thing is, in 1998 there was this international exhibition in Edinburgh, in Scotland. It's called The Jury Moves, and they had all this jury in categories grouped together, and this one was in the category politics. So I think, politics? But then somebody could explain, you have Animal Farm, George Orwell, and you have the labor people and red socialism, and the bourgeoisie and the industrialists and gold, and she could explain everything with and I just didn't know it was in there, but it's always so nice. The frog legs brooch, 1997. This is the cockroaches in their metamorphosis. It's really big. They're big as my hand. And I just made them as a joke, and there was an exhibition, and they were sold immediately. I was just now amazed. How is it possible? All three of them by the same person. Yeah. In 2000, I had a solo exhibition at Gallery Louise Smith, and I wanted to have a theme. I chose this theme, a self-made word, maritimities. And it was, although I hated the period, I was with my parents on the boat. It's still inside you. So I had this thing with I want to do something with water and in and under and above water. And this is the water flea brooch with swim ring necklace. So it's a jewelry with jewelry. Yeah. This is a big piece. This is the lobster necklace. And the tentacles move. So, and there's a very funny that there's a collector, German collector, she's a big woman. She bought this. It's a big piece, and she in Germany people are quite serious. So she goes to meetings, and she has them. Where's this? Just yeah. These are a couple of rings. On the left side, there's the mushroom ring, and the palm ring, and the baby Jesus ring, and the target rabbit ring. I love him too. He's wonderful. This is Esquire Johnny. I bought him on a flea market for 1 guilder. He is, I think, 30 centimeters high, and he has his rabbit feet on his neck. We are now in 2002. I have been working constantly, just 7 days a week. Just producing, and I started getting pain in my arms. I call it a repetitive crochet knit injury. I was doing all the wrong things. I was sitting in the wrong chair, and I was even started playing the violin again, which I did also when I was younger. But I tried now to do jazz and improvising, and I was sitting behind a computer and didn't do any sports. So it was, supposed to go wrong, of course. But then, if you always work and then you can't work, or you feel pain, and you hear all these horrible stories about other people, what happened to them, I just really start thinking what to do now. So in a way, it was a quite black period. But so now we can talk about something else. This is the material I use. It's viscose or rayon, and also metallic threads, and it's used for embroidery on the machine. It's very, very thin, but I use it in a way as paint. I can use different colors, but also make combinations with the rayon threads and the metallic thread. So you have a really bright color, but also with a sparkle in it. And sometimes I use 3 threads together, sometimes 4, sometimes 5. So I can play with it. And it's also in a way, very cheap material. It's wonderful. This is how so you can see the crochet needle. It looks very big, but it's really, really small. It's number 1. Yeah. This is the work plaque I'm now. This is the new work plaque in Norway. This is how I sit on this. I bought a very expensive, good chair, and I just need a little bit of space for the crochet. And I'm looking at when I'm crocheting at the television. So it's really great, especially there is a National Geographic and Discovery Channel and Animal Planet, and so. This is how my day starts. I learn a lot. This is. I have this animal collection. I don't know when it started, but it started someday, and it just get more and more and more. And every time I was in a foreign country, I didn't go so much to normal museums, but more go to a zoo and then to the shop at the zoo and buy a lot of animals. And then later on, you can order them at wholesale, and you can order them through internet, and all the brands because they are everywhere. It doesn't matter so much in which country you are. And every year there are new ones. So that's great. So in January, I'm also excited going to see all the brands, what new animals they have. But also some old animals are not being made anymore, and that I can panic sometimes, because then I have a sort of a really nice design, and then I find out that it's the last one, and that's and then it's more effort to find some and more expensive, but. It's so fantastic. And they get better, all the quality is getting better also. When I am busy with a new design, I write always down what I'm doing in the crochet language, which looks a bit like mathematics. Also a fascination for mathematics. And when I have this design finished, I write it down very beautifully, and I make a photocopy or a scan the thing I made, because most of the time it's flat. I can put it on the scanner, and then I make a pattern book. So the first design takes a long time. This not, but the new designs takes months sometimes, 1, 2, 3 months. But once I have the design, I just can produce very easily a small limited edition. So 4, 5, or 6. Not too many, because then it's a bit boring. But and then I can wake up and go in front of the television and can put the television on and can start work without thinking too much about new things. I can repeat what I did, and that's really relaxing. Also, a nice way to begin the day. After 3 months with pain in my arms and started to get better and doing yoga and all kinds of special things, buying a new chair, going to the gym, stopping playing the violin. I started with new work, because I thought also, well, if I work like I did all the time, only crocheting and knitting, then it will happen again probably. So I just go back to my metalsmithing again, and I make a combination with the animals I collected. So this is the giraffe with the zebra legs. I used 2 zebras for this one. And there was also sometimes people they see your website and then they ask you technical question. And there was a woman or girl, I don't know, she asked me, where do you buy those metal things for the neck of the giraffe? And I think, where do you buy? You make them. You can't go to a shop and buy especially that size. But it's a whole different way of thinking, of course, if you make yourself everything, if you know how to make it, or if you go to a shop and buy parts. This is Elephant Cliff. This is and it's 7 mice. This is an object with a bracelet. That was most of the time, if you make a beautiful piece of jewelry and people buy it, and then if they don't wear it, then it's in a box or in a drawer. And I thought it's such a pity, so I'm going to make an object, and then if you want to wear it, you can take the bracelet off. So the golden piece of cheese is the clasp. You can say that. Yeah, and he has ruby eyes. That's the party goldfish in his pond. This is one of my favorites. Yeah, this is the camouflage deer with target pants. And if you take off the head and you turn it around, you have a necklace. The ostriches. Yeah. Always in conversation. And this is Brian the lion. I was once. It was in Glasgow. Well, in Scotland, there is this. There was a symposium, and there was in this museum, which had a little bit like this museum, which had everything, also stuffed animals. And this half animal, half a lion, was in front of the stuffed animals, and I find it so strange to have half a lion. I heard from the people that the other half was missing. But they found it back later, years later. And this lion was called Brian the Lion, and the children really loved him, but there were parents, they thought, well, it's so cruel to have half a lion there. And so they took him to the back somewhere in the corner, and then the children were complaining, where's Brian the Lion? So then they give him his right place back. Yeah, and when I was working on this piece, it's big as my hand. It's quite big. I felt like a hairdresser because I was making his hair and curly, and I was feeling like a painter because I used all kinds of different threads in making these colors, and I wanted to give him gem eyes. And I was looking for different gem stones and how to do it. And I know most of the time, if I being busy with a design process and my mood is going down, then that is a sign that I go the wrong path or something is not right. And so I just really was, I can't find those eyes. And that time it was very hot outside, so it was in the middle of summer, and it was more than 30 degrees centigrade, and everybody was wearing sunglasses. And I was like, hey, if I give him sunglasses, then I solve the problem with the eyes. So I made different glasses, and it was the right way. Sometimes the solution is easier than you think, and I love that, especially when it's less work. And at that time I went also to a snack conference. I don't know which it was, but Boris Bali gave a student talk, I think it was, and he was talking about how important it was to have good pictures of your work. And that time it was the first time that I thought, well, maybe normally I made my own pictures, but I thought maybe I have to ask a photographer doing it, because Boris told me that if you have good pictures, then your work can end up in the front page of a magazine. I was thinking, oh yeah, I want to have that. So but this was 2003. I had this interview for an art magazine, and I was thinking, oh, I would like to have Brian on the front, but how do you do that? You know, you're not going to phone them or email them and say, well, I have a good picture on your magazine. So I just mailed to them this in the email. I said, well, Brian the Lying is asking me and being horrible to me. He wants to be on your front page. He thinks he's great and wonderful, and I just promised him to tell you this, and then he will shut up. I hope. So after 2 weeks, I got this email. I said, well, we think that Brian is as good as we think he is, and he won't be on the front page. So that was wonderful, yeah. And it's great if you go to a shop where they have the magazines and you see your own works. Oh, yeah. This is a brooch called Flamengo Dear Señorita del Sol. Yeah, his if you see his hoofs are like Spanish castanets. This is a ring called Orca Supper ring. You can bend the legs of the table together. It's hinged, and the tail of the orca is moving. These are the cowboy lion cups. It's a necklace with golden spurs. On the left you see a real girl from Zealand, and on the right there is my Zealand girl. Zealand is a Dutch province in the south near the sea, and they have this traditional clothing with these gold ear things, very big gold. There is also under the white lace, there's also gold, but you don't see it. They cover it up with lace. Yeah, this is the black clown with the golden heart. And I had the idea. I wanted also to, in my head, I had this picture of him also having a body, and I was trying to make the body, and I just doesn't work. It doesn't work. And then I thought, well, then I just don't give him a body. I just give him a golden heart, and then it was okay. Then it's good. Sometimes I have to think myself out the title. Magician Tiger Cub with his 5.5 little rabbits. The Ducky Ducks. Brooch, necklace and ring. Yeah, dit is Emperor Penguin Freddy with his polar bear claw necklace. And it's of course a mystery how he gets those claws, because he is from the south and the polar bear is from the north. But the necklace you can take off and you can wear that as a ring. And he's well, I make from all the editions that I make. If I have an edition that is 4 or more, I make a 0 number for myself, for my own collection. Is this a tip for you all to do that also if you're not making only unique pieces? But then you have your own collection, and if you ask by a museum to take part in an exhibition, then you don't have to ask your work back from people who have bought it. You always have your own collection, so that's very handy. So you can take part of more exhibitions than you normally can. And he is one of the favorites from many exhibitions, and they gave him all kinds of adventures, and he's been traveling a lot. This is the giraffe nest with the giraffe eggs. So the nest is it's a brooch. And I work now also together with an photographer, an other photographer who is specialized in microscopical little animals, but we just wanted to do something together. And so he put my work in a picture. And many people have a special favorite animal, and I have also one of my favorite animals is a giraffe, and I just wonder why it's a giraffe. Oh yeah, of course, from my childhood. One time it was autumn, and I was walking in a forest in Belgium. It was one of the last beautiful autumn days with red and yellow and brown and orange and a blue sky. And I thought, well, yeah, polar bear babies with a sweater and then cable knitted and people ask me, how do you come up with this idea? And it doesn't matter where you are. You don't have to be in the snow to think about such. This is the object. So this is the pregnant polar bear mate, and this is the baby. And the baby's a brooch. And I made more because I had this pattern, and there are more bears than polar bears. So I made also the panda bear and the koala bear and the black bear. I hope one day also the grizzly bear, but then the bears, the toy bears are not good enough yet to make something like this. This is also an object with a bracelet. This snail train with snail with sprouts train. Yeah. It's another penguin. This is Rocky, the rock penguin, alias the stork. At that time, it was 2006. In the Netherlands, there was you had this criminal persons, these hardened criminals, and having this nickname of the nose, and this why I came up with alias the stork. In 2006, there was a new museum opened in Zeeland, the Zeeland Museum, and they asked me if I wanted to make a piece inspired by the traditional jewelry, and then so it can be worn in a fashion show where the concept was a combination between old and new. And I made the Jumbo Star brothers, and that's in a way very traditional male jewelry piece. In the old days, you can see that with the man on the left, these trouser pieces. In working days, they were from wood, but then when it's Sunday and special occasions, it's silver, and the bigger, the richer, of course. And I made also a brooch. I had this pattern, and I thought, well, now if I make one Jumbo Star brother, I can make a brooch. And that one is here in Seattle, at the gallery. This is the super freak zebra. Many times I don't know too much about how the design process went, but this one I know. I can share it with you. I wanted to do something with a zebra, with stripes, horizontal stripes, vertical stripes, diagonal stripes. I wanted to do it with stripes. I started with being inspired by the Egyptian reliefs, and I ended up being inspired by Michael Jackson and Rick James. And then I was you have problems to solve if you have an idea, and then what to do with the hands and what to do with the feet. And I was just thinking many different possibilities with with metal hoofs, horseshoes, I don't know what. But I end up, well, if I give him these trousers with how do you call those trousers from the 70s? Well, then you don't need any shoes or hoofs, so that problem was solved. And then I had to think what to do with the arm, so I was, playing with him with like what to do. And then I decided, well, if you do this, then I don't have to think about hands. Then it's also solved. So and it's also the best. It's not that I do that because I don't want to work too much, but it's also the best. If it was not a good choice, and of course I would not do it. But I'm always happy if the final solution is less work, because it's already a lot of work. In 2004, I got this telephone from a governmental building agency if I wanted to do a commission. To make a chandelier and other lamps for a new building for child protection of children. And it was a lot of money, and I never did something bigger than my hands, you can say that. So I said, but yeah, it's such a chance to do something else. And I have this cousin, Martin, who is a self-taught jeweler, but he's also an engineer and he knows everything. And if he doesn't know everything, then he will know everything. So he's very clever. And we start talking about it, and then he said, well, we can also do that together. Let's work together. And being inspired by the little animals and plants that you don't see, but only under a microscope. So I designed this. This is the water flea with a picture of the real one. I designed the water flea chandelier. It's in a way the first design was the water fleas, and then hanging under big leaves, water lily leaves. And then my cousin, he can already think big. I can't. I have to make it, and then I can see, oh, it's too big. But he can see. He says that's going to be too big green. It's too much, and you have to think about something else. And then I thought about duckweed and how to do the duckweed, and then. And now I ended up with this brooch. In a way, it's a big, giant brooch for the ceiling. It's just like gemstones. And the water fleas and the duckweed is all resin, casted resin. And the lighting is by optical fibers. There is somewhere hidden in the ceiling there is this projector with. Very strong lamp, and that sends light through the optical fibers to the fingers and the tail and the eggs of the water flea. And there is a turning, rotating disc in front of the light. So very slowly, gradually, it gets the 5 different colors. So if you are in this waiting room for because you have to be there and you don't want to be in that place, but if you have, you can watch all the time. It's very meditative and intriguing to see changing colors. It works. We had to make also other lamps for the people who work there, and I was now inspired by the copper pot on the right side and the desmit on the left. It's so beautiful. It's what is all living in the water. So we made copper pot lamps. The light is coming out of the eggs here. Here there are the eggs, and here's the light coming out. And the projector again is in the ceiling. We made 8 of them, 8 of those, and then we had the molds, and then we made also half. This is a wall desmid. It's such beautiful. There is no light in it, but just the light comes from above, and then it's very transparent green. It's in a way, very abstract. Another project we did is in a town hall in Veenendaal in the Netherlands. The budget was was not really big budget. So we thought about not about casting resin, because that's such a lot of work, and also I now have an allergic reaction to it, because I was not working safely enough. Yeah, stupid, but okay. This is RVS, and it's I think 15 meters the piece with 30 lamps. And there are 2 projectors who, different from each other, have this rotating color disc. So you have 2 colors changing. It's beautiful. And the last project we did, we started in 2007. It was for a school, a high school, but we call it a gymnasium, but here it's something different. But in the Netherlands, a gymnasium is a school where you have also Latin and Greek. And if you have that diploma, you can also go to a university. I started having this idea about Pegasus, so the flying horse in Greek or Roman mythology. And we made 4 art works for that school, and this is the first one. The simplest one. This is horseshoes in the form of omega. So there's a whole concept behind it. I hope I can explain it quite well. If you go for the first time to a high school, you come from junior school where everything is safe, and then you go to high school and everything is new, and you are also the students are also very new for the teachers. They're in a way like blank leaves. You don't know what kind of child it is. And then in high school, during high school, that period, you change a lot. You change from a child to a young grown-up. And you have the whole puberty thing, and everything changes. And so with that idea, we thought, well, we want to transform that idea to there are horses getting into if you don't see invisible horses coming into that school. Hey, you see here there have been walking horses there, but now they're inside the school, and they eat and they drink. So they eat knowledge, and they drink more the emotional things that happen, and then finally they fly into the world. That was the idea behind it. And then this is the second part of the big project. This is a projection of a pond, and Pegasus made with his own hoof. He made a well, Hippocrene it's called, and in that well the 10 or 7 muses, I don't know if those ladies were swimming in that pond to get inspiration for poems and all kinds of things. So in a way we have made our pond there, so also for the drink, symbolizing the drink with emotional changes in adolescent. And then so once in a while there's this horse. It's like you are in the pond looking up to the sky, and there are horses drinking from the pond. And also the weather is changing. So now it's beautiful, it's blue sky and some clouds, but it can be grey and dark and a bit purple, and it can rain, and also there's also the different horses, and you never know when it happens. It's randomly projection. The third part we just installed that some months ago. That's the food for the mind. It's a meadow of rosettes. That's the auditorium of the school. And there were already 30 lamps hanging, and we made rosettes for those lamps. And we asked the teachers and the students also to come up with ideas. So all every faculty has his own rosette, and also the orchestra, all other things which were dealing with the school had their own rosettes, and it's made by it's also RVS lasered, also with the help of a graphic designer. And on the right you see a Medusa. Medusa is the mother of Pegasus, and and below there is Latin. So it's all they have theaters and music, but if you're sitting there, you can in the break you can stare up, and you can try to that is French and that's English, and but it was very hot when we had to install it. It was horrible. This is the last part. This is the horses, the Pegasus horses, the flying horses who are still a bit invisible, but being a dream or being fantasy, and but now more visualized as being the horses in the school flying out. They are made of 2 centimeters, so almost 1 inch thick perspex or plexiglass, and then lasered, and then made together with bolts, big ball. I don't know the names, but it's That's the last. Okay. 2008 is my year of emigration. After 40 years of living in the Netherlands, and the last 17 years in a small, you can say, small apartment in the middle of Amsterdam. My boyfriend was also living with me then. We were fed up with the city, and with also the Netherlands being quite overcrowded, and the house prices were very, very, very expensive for us. I read an advertisement in an art magazine about a county in Norway called Kvam that was asking for artists who are interested maybe to immigrate to their country to visit them. And we went to this weekend, and we were just, it's so beautiful there. And being invited, as artists to come and live there, it's very special. And it's the countryside of Norway and Sweden is getting empty and more empty, and so they were thinking, well, we want to have new people coming, but also people staying there, and what have we can offer more than only nature and clean sky and fishing, and if we have more culture, then that's also good for the county. So that was their idea. So in March 2008, we emigrated first to this beautiful, nice, cold, old house. Old is cold. That's what I know now. In a very small town. And there I made my last series of work. It's called, for my solo exhibition in Amsterdam, VIPS, Festival International de Best Sportif. It was also the year of the Olympic Games in China. And this is referee's son. He's a brooch, and his arms are moving. So if you wear that as a brooch, he's just being a referee all the time. Yeah. I don't like to draw, or I always thought I can't draw. And if I looked at other people's sketchbook, they always are so beautiful. And when I try, it looks so dumb and ugly, and I just gave up drawing very early. But I had so many ideas for this theme, and I thought, well, I have to draw, because otherwise I forget. So I made drawings. And I made it in a sketchbook and then ripped it off the sketchbook. So that was my way. So I could throw it away if I wanted to. So then I had the guts to draw. It's really strange. It's all in the head, but okay, it works like that. So this was this design for this ring, and finally, because things change, of course. Yeah. And sucker baby. That's the game of the cheetahs. And you can wear the necklace on both sides. I love beads, especially seed beads. I always wanted to be an Indian when I was younger, but it's mainly because of the beautiful clothes and beadwork. So now the beads getting more and more, I think, in my work. And this is very simple work, but it does matter. This is the drawing, and this is the bracelet. Oh yeah, that was the G. Russells, the name. This is a necklace called Sven Swansson the First. It's a bit Swedish name, so. And people ask me, "Oh, you're emigrating now to Norway. Did your work change?" And I think, this is maybe the only thing that then it's a Scandinavian, little bit Scandinavian name. I don't know. Probably for some people the work will change, but for others, I don't know. If it's all most in your head, then it doesn't matter where you live. You just make your thing. This is prima ballerina Hippololita. This is the object called Sir Beauty Bee Dandy. I forgot the name. Anyway, I had this idea 4 o'clock in the morning. I woke up in bed, and it was at that time you had Tour de France. The peloton it's called. The Tour de France was the very, very famous cycle match for 3 weeks. And I had this idea of the picture of when they cycle in a peloton and one falls, then they crash over each other, and you have this pile of bodies and bicycles. And then I was thinking about that, and then I wanted to have the picture is not there yet because my photographer didn't understand this idea. That if you now it is hanging like you wear it, but if you lay it on the table, it has to be a bit chaos. That everybody bumped into each other, and this is also a way to get rid of some half pieces I have. So it's a recycling of my animals. Yeah. The earrings called the Outsiders. It's Yellow Kelly. It's very strange. I had this idea, and I all the time was thinking he's a boy. This is a male canary doing gymnastic. I don't know, but I probably I prefer making boys animals or something, but when I couldn't find a name, and then I thought, I changed it, it's a girl, and then I had Yellow Kelly. The name's very easy. Yeah, this is the final, the last show. This is our new house. We bought a house in another little town, and it's a huge house for us, and it's a warm house, and this is at the moment. This is my little metal smithing studio of 3 by 3 meters. It's all cramped, and it's horrible wallpaper, and it's so small. And I'm now working for 13 years, and this is still my studio. But in the new house, this is going to be a studio. So this is my dream, or having a professional studio in which you can walk around. So that's this is my last show. I end with this, and I hope in the near future I can show you pictures of the real atelier, and maybe my work is going to be bigger. Also, you don't know what's going to happen. Well, thank you.